Trigger warning. In this episode, we discuss miscarriage, fetal movement, delivery, birth, urination, defecation, postpartum depression, breastfeeding, and other sensitive topics. Hello, and welcome to Sorry for Trauma Dumping. We're your hosts. My name is Alex.
And I'm Erica.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. Well, we have a really exciting episode today. We have this mini series that we're doing. If you watch the end of last week's episode, we kind of talked about what we're doing. So this is the first episode of the mini series that we're doing. Today's topic is pregnancy, and we actually have a special guest on today. I have talked about her many of times.
Yeah.
And so let's go ahead and give a nice big welcome to Brooke.
Hi, I am Brooke.
Alrighty. And this is Brooke. Let's welcome Brooke.
Hi, I'm Brooke.
And Brooke is going to tell her story today on pregnancy. What were you going to say, Erica?
It's good to finally put the name to the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do talk about you quite a lot. I feel like there's always something in the podcast like, oh yeah, my friend Brooke. Oh yeah, my friend Brooke.
Shout out to Brooke.
Yeah. Alrighty. So, with these episodes, we're going to talk about different things. So this one is going to be all about pregnancy. So we're going to have Brooke tell her pregnancy story with us. Give us all the gritty details that you want to.
Okay. All right. If you want them. Anyways, you want me to start?
Yep. Go ahead and start.
Okay. So I have 2 children, and we'll get a little bit more into. So my daughter is adopted. She's my oldest child. And then I have my son, who I gave birth to. We'll get more into the adoption story at another time. So I found out that I was pregnant with Ray, my son, in the bathroom at Hy-Vee. So
Solid.
yeah, my mom was sitting in the car with Ivy, who was at the time she was going to turn 6 weeks old the next day, and I was pretty sure I was pregnant, and that's why I didn't make it home, because I was like, I'm not leaving this Hy-Vee until I know. And then right away it just like lit up like a Christmas tree. It was 2 lines, and so I just like started bawling. It was I wasn't. Yeah, go ahead.
So how did you know not to leave Hy-Vee? Like, oh, I needed this tested now. How did you get to that conclusion?
Well, so I knew that my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and I had an oops a few weeks before that. And I knew that I was in my fertile window at the time. And I actually, funny story, told him, you just got me pregnant. Like that, I was like, dude, you just got me pregnant. Like, no. Like, so I hadn't even missed my period yet, but like I knew when you could usually like 5 days before you miss your period is when you can get a positive test. So like that day I'm like Googling like, when is the earliest you can detect a pregnancy? Then I went and I took it, and yeah, sure enough, right away. So it was more like an instinctual thing. Like I was like, there's no way I'm not. We just adopted a baby, so obviously I've got to be pregnant right now. But I mean, and I had also, the beginning of my pregnancy was a little bit stressful and scary. I had also had multiple pregnancy losses, which led us to the adoption of our daughter, which again, we can touch more on that later. I have a genetic abnormality that's caused me to lose many pregnancies. So there was kind of like the fear of having a baby that was 6 weeks old, but then also not wanting to have another miscarriage. And so it's kind of like, well, I do want this baby, but also I'm terrified to have 2 babies. So the beginning of my pregnancy was just a lot of emotions, a lot of anxiety. I did have genetic testing when I was 11, 12-ish weeks. A couple weeks later, came back. He was healthy. He was a boy. And so like at that point, I was like, all right, normal pregnancy, let's go. And so my pregnancy was really a pretty good pregnancy, other than the fact that like I was raising a baby, that a newborn. So I guess I was pretty lucky to have a fairly uneventful pregnancy, because I'd say the mental health portion was definitely the hardest part for me, because I was just really, really nervous. I was working full time. And my daughter had a lot of health issues. So it was just like being pregnant, working full time, like just I was really nervous. But I had a pretty nice pregnancy. But I'm trying to think of, let's check the notes here.
Get those notes out.
We're gonna get the notes because I'm forgetting my life. Okay, well, we'll talk about, so like pregnancy symptoms. So I had noted to talk about that. So I did have like a little bit of morning sickness. It's funny though, because it was only when I brushed my teeth, and it was like in the morning. So I was pretty lucky there, but I remember like I dreaded brushing my teeth in the morning because it was like awful for me. I was really, really tired too. Like, and I think also I had a newborn, but like I remember just being like impossibly tired, and I was working full time, so yeah, that was really like my first trimester. And I remember really looking forward to the second trimester, because everybody like calls it the golden trimester and everything, and I remember being like, I haven't woken up yet, so I don't know what you guys are talking about, like, because I was still dragging like really bad. But I guess that also probably was due to being overwhelmed as well with life. So yeah, I mean, trying to think of where we
I have a question.
Yeah, please ask questions.
Did you have any food cravings with
Yes.
him?
Okay, yes. I'm glad you asked that. Yes. Okay, so I had really weird cravings. So I craved virgin Bloody Marys. I don't know why. I was never like a Bloody Mary drinker or anything before that, but like I just started. So we like would get like, I got a recipe for like Bloody Marys, and I just didn't add like the vodka or whatever. And it was pretty like extensive too. I had like the pickles and the olives, and I'd do it up all nice, because like I found out I was pregnant right before my birthday. So we like got a hotel, and like my husband like made me these like virgin Bloody Marys, and yeah. Oh, and pickles. Oh gosh, that's a funny story. So, not just pickles, but Clausen pickles. So we lived like not too far from Hy-Vee, and my husband went all the time to get pickles. And then there was one day, apparently they were out of the Clausen ones, so he decided to just get no pickles because he thought that was better. And I literally cried when he got, like, I not only cried, but I was like angry. I was mean to him about it. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, it was just like the most horrible thing he could have ever done. Like the betrayal. Like, you brought me no pickles. Like, I'm pregnant with your child. Like, it was rough. So yeah, I'd say definitely just like really salty Bloody Marys and pickles. That's what it was.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So then I guess I could speed up to like when I started to feel him move. I'd say that was really exciting. But one sad thing about that was that my placenta was in the front. I don't know if you've heard of that. I can't remember the technical term right now, but it was really a big bummer because like I had looked so forward to having a pregnancy because, I'd lost pregnancies and I adopted my daughter, which is amazing. But I was really looking forward to be able to have a full-term pregnancy. It was really, really hard to feel him move. Like, so only a handful of people ever did, but I remember like when my husband did for the first time, it was so exciting.
I got to feel him move.
You did. You're one of the lucky few. It's like, seriously, there's a very small, like maybe not even a handful of people that ever felt him move because it was like you had to be right there and he had to be kicking right at the right spot really hard. So like those were the intense ones. But one thing you could see though is that he liked to do somersaults. And that was rough because it felt like he was trying to like break out of my body, and you could see his butt. Like he'd be and it'd be like, I was like alien, like gonna like burst out of me. So, but then I think what else we had that was notable in my pregnancy. We decided to hire a doula, and that was a really good. I'm so glad that we did that. Honestly, like I still just really appreciate her so much. She was great. We interviewed a couple people. The first person, it wasn't really a great fit, and it's weird how you know that. It's like she was a perfectly nice person, but I was like, I just can't like see this person in a delivery room with me, and maybe she would be the perfect match for somebody else, but it wasn't for me. And then
real quick, do you want to explain what a doula is for people
yeah,
who don't necessarily know what a doula is?
good call. Yes. So a doula basically will come in and support the pregnant mother in the room during delivery. And it really all depends on the doula. A lot will kind of be supportive before and then after as well. So doulas, most are pretty highly trained in all different kinds of things. So they might do like physical, like massages, and they know all different types of way to help kind of get through labor. And they're really good. So my doula now, unfortunately, there are some doulas that aren't the greatest doulas, but that's with any trade, obviously. My doula was fantastic about like going through my birth plan, helping me create my birth plan, and then so we had like put that together. So she knew that like I didn't want medication, and that she would do everything to try to help me support that vision of my labor. Also, because like a lot of times you don't think of like questions that you'll be asked in the hospital and stuff. So she'd be like, hey, they'll ask this, like, and help me put that together. And like she helped me put together a whole plan and everything. And then she was phenomenal in the delivery room. Like the best, but we'll get up there in a minute. But so yeah, when we interviewed her, she was the second person we interviewed, and I knew that I had to have her. She was just fantastic. She was really great, and she would just check in on me periodically. And I don't remember how far along I was when I hired her. Maybe it was a little ways out. And so for a while I was getting like weekly texts, and I just really appreciated that. Like, hey, how are you feeling? Any questions? And yeah, so that was really, really amazing. I would definitely recommend a doula for sure. What else was I going to say?
So my cousin is a doula.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't know that they like you can have them go like okay, so whenever she mentioned a doula is like her personal because she had doulas as well. And I'm pretty sure all three of her births were at home. And so like she would always talk about her doula in that way. I didn't know that doulas can do hospital births too. I thought it was just primarily at home births.
Yeah, and so I would be curious to know how that's changed since COVID, because I know during COVID that was an issue, because I mean you could only have one person in the room. I mean people couldn't even have like their spouse and their parent in there. So I think probably now it's back to being normal, I hope. But yeah, I had a hospital birth, and but she also did home births too. And so like a doula, yeah, is in addition to like the hired like medical team. So it's like you hire the doula, so she would come in and she wouldn't like deliver the baby or anything, but but yes, she also participated in home births, so that's like what the mother that was hiring her wanted. So yeah, she was really great about just kind of going with whatever you needed. But yeah.
Did you have a theme baby shower?
Yeah. Why do I remember? I don't even remember that. Did I have a theme baby shower? Alex, you were there, right? What did I have a theme?
I can't remember. Was I? Oh, wait.
Start looking. No, just
I
kidding.
Were you there?
don't think I was at your baby shower because I think that was the time where we like. Oh wait, no, we had made up by then. I
Why
can't.
don't I remember my baby?
I don't remember your baby
I was
shower.
so
I remember
tired
like
I was so tired my whole pregnancy. Like I had a baby shower. I just don't think I had like a cute theme or anything. I mean, I'm sure it was a perfectly nice baby shower, but it was.
I think with. Oh God, this is gonna drive me nuts because I know there was a period of time where like we went from like talking to no talking, talking to
Yeah.
no talking because we had went through like that really awkward phase. Like
We had a rough road there for
yeah,
a bit. Yeah, it was
and
bumpy.
then I know we made up because I remember after you had Ivy, I had like giving you that gift.
Yeah, you came over. Yeah, so we would have.
Yeah. So okay, this is gonna drive me nuts. But I don't remember your baby shower. I just remember your pregnancy announcement because you did the stuff with the Converse.
Yeah. Oh yes. That was so fun. Yeah, we did. So we're like big Chuck Taylor people, and so we had Ivy in the we had Ivy in the picture, and it's so funny. So okay, so it had my husband and I were standing next to each other with like our feet like next. You can't even see my hands, but like next to each other, like. And then we held Ivy between my feet, and then my husband had little baby shoes between his, and then we did like the pink and the blue
Like
shoelaces.
socks or shoelaces. That's what it was.
Yeah, and that's how
Yeah.
we like announced. But funny thing is that Ivy was definitely just like knocked out when we took that picture. But you can't see; it's only our legs that you can see. So I was like holding her, and she's just like flopped down, but her feet are in it. Like you would have no idea that Ivy was just like not even conscious. So we took that picture because we'd gotten our first family photos that day, and she was like over it. She was mad that whole day. It was rough family photo day. Hell, guys, she was not into it, not at all.
Yeah, I don't remember your theme at all. It's gonna drive me nuts.
I think the theme was baby shower.
Look.
Wait a minute.
Facebook. Was there any pictures taken?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I can't look on Facebook right now because I'm not on Facebook. Someday I will look and I will figure it out, and then I'll let you know, and we can be like, we figured out Brooke's baby shower.
Okay.
Because yeah, I don't know. It was fun. I remember having fun. I know a lot of people from my work came, and that was weird because I wasn't really super close to a lot of people from my work, so it was a little bit awkward. That's one thing I remember. So, like when you have an event and there's a lot of people from multiple places in your life, and you don't know how to like hop between all of those people. I remember that being a thing, being like, okay, there's all these people from work. I don't really know them very well, but then there's like all these like family members, then there's like these friends from a day. So I remember that. Maybe that's why I don't remember the theme, because I was just anxious the whole time because I'm just a ball of anxiety, because I'm like, everybody's mad because I'm not talking to them, obviously. So yeah. Anyway, moving on from my forgotten baby shower. I'm trying to think of some more notable things in my pregnancy.
Did you go full term, or were you like over your due date?
Okay, so he was born on my due date. And it's so funny because like my due date was November 5th, and my husband was excited about that because V for Vendetta. So he loves V for Vendetta. And so like remember the 5th of November. And so when we got that due date, he was just like, what? No way. And like babies are never born on their due date though. But like November 4th, my water broke, which I was in a lot of denial. It's just funny because we were like laying in bed watching Sons of Anarchy because that was all the rage at the time. And I was laying down, and it like, there was like this rush of water or warmth under me, and I was like, I think I peed my pants. Oh, like I'm pretty sure I just peed my pants. And my husband was like, okay, like I'm sorry, I don't know. So I like walked to the bathroom, and then nothing else was going on. So I texted my doula, and I was like, I don't know. I think I peed my pants, but like maybe my water broke. So she told me to like squat, and that if I squatted and more liquid came out, that it was probably my water. Well, nothing was really happening. So I just like walked around forever, just like squatting down. I was just like, like forever.
So
and I was like, I don't know. I feel like there's like a little bit of trickle going on, but maybe I'm just peeing my pants repeatedly. Like I'm really pregnant. Okay. Like I was just like, I was in denial for so long. And I didn't go to sleep forever because I'm like, I might be in labor. I might be having a baby. I might just be repeatedly peeing my pants. I don't know what's happening. And so I remember just like jumping on, like bounce, like, those balls that like pregnant ladies bounce on. I bounced on that for a long time. And then finally, like, it was like the middle of the night. We were living with my parents at the time because they've got like this massive house that we had kind of like our own little apartment in. And, I went out to talk to my mom because she never sleeps, and she was like up, and I was like, Mom, I don't know what's going on. And we were just talking, and then it was just like on the floor, like a lot of blood. I'm like, okay, that wasn't pee. Like I'm pretty positive that was not pee. And so at that point, I think I like had to accept it. I still didn't go into the hospital yet though, because I don't know what my deal was. I don't know if I was just scared. I'm like, I'm not ready yet. Maybe if I ignore this, it's just, I'm not ready to have 2 babies. Like, it's scary. But no, so then I actually went into my 40-week appointment the next morning. At like 10 a.m. I had an appointment. So I just like rolled up, and I was having contractions at this point. I mean, I was definitely in labor. And so I just like got there, and they made me do an ultrasound, which is like bizarre. Sometimes I forget that happened because apparently they like do a 40-week ultrasound at this place. I don't know why. And so I'm like laying there. I'm like, oh. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm having a baby. I'm like, I'm having contractions. So she's like, okay, we're going to take you into the doctor's office. And then they like swabbed me, when they see like if you actually broke your water. And she's like, why did you, she like yelled at me. She was like actually mad at me. She's like, you should have come in last night. Like, why are you at your 40-week appointment? Like, they take her down to the hospital, basically, and they like wheeled me down in a wheelchair, and I'm like, sorry. Like, I just like felt like I had just like, I don't know, I was so awful to everyone because I didn't go to the hospital the night before. Like, I don't know. It was really weird. But yeah, so long story short, yes, he was born on his due date, November 5th. And very interesting, series of events.
Had to have been like after, because I had just learned pregnancy massage at school, and
Yes.
I was like, Brooke is pregnant, and you're like, yes, give me a massage. I remember like texting you, and I was like, all right, I will be over. And I like had you all set up in the living room, and you were like, I am so relaxed right now.
You did, and I did.
That's when I was able to feel Ray, because I was like, I'm going to rub your belly.
You're right. You're right. Yes. Yes. And I actually did a reflexology appointment on November 4th. I forgot. All these things are coming back in my brain that I forgot happened. But so I think it was actually one of your
It was my teacher.
Yeah. Was it your teacher? Yeah, I did a reflexology.
Went to my teacher.
Yeah, so like thanks, lady. Like, so because it was that night that like my water broke, since I had done a reflexology, which is like the pressure points, like it's like on hands and feet, right? And that's supposed to like trigger labor, like, and I don't really know the science of that, to be honest, but I was like, yeah, anything to get this kid out of me, I'll do it. Like, and yeah, my water broke that night. So
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, so they wheeled you up to labor and delivery. What happened after that?
So
was Shag with you? Like, who had IV?
I feel like he was probably with me. Where was that guy? I mean, I know he was there. Obviously, at some point he got there. I don't remember if he was there at the appointment or not. It's all just kind of a blur. Pretty sure my mom was there. My mom, he would have been there because I was pretty sure that I was in labor. Like, I knew I was in labor. So he would have called into work. Yeah, he was there. He was there, and my mom was there. And Ivy would have been with my grandma. She was with my grandma. And so, yeah, so this is an interesting thing. So they wheeled me down, and my contractions stopped. But I think that's because, like, I had a disruption, and they said that that's actually fairly common, because then I'm like, I'm still making it up. Like, that didn't help, like, my weird denial. Like, it wasn't really, the doctors are wrong. I'm wrong. There's no baby coming today. But yeah, so my my contractions pretty much stopped. So they got me checked in and everything, and that took a little while, but then they like got me all dressed up and in the bed, and I was starving, which you're not supposed to eat in the hospital, but Shaggy was gonna like sneak me in some Subway. And he had left, and he was transferring Ivy from my grandma to his mom, and they broke my water in the time between that. I don't really remember why, because I feel like I hadn't been there for that long yet, but maybe my timeline's warped.
So like your water broke, but like not all the way.
Okay, so here's the thing, and I didn't know this yet. There are 2 layers to the water sac.
Oh.
So my initial water sac layer had broken, but the second one didn't. And so that's why that's why it was never like a massive, massive gush. The one in the kitchen was a little bigger, but the first one where I thought that like maybe it was pee, I don't know. It was because both layers of the water of like the membrane sac hadn't broken. So then they broke the rest of the sack, and then it was on. Like, so like I called Shag, and I was like, you get in now, like I don't care about food, I don't care, come. Like, and yeah, it just pretty much never slowed down after that. It was a lot of pain, like it was pretty awful.
And
but
any meds?
I did not. I don't know, and I've thought about this a lot. I'm not having any more kids, so I don't really have to think about it anymore. But I was like, I don't know if I would want to have another unmedicated birth. Like, I'm kind of, it's cool that I can say that I did, but also like it hurt really bad. Like, it was about as awful as you can imagine. Like, oh my gosh, like at the end especially. So you have like a transitioning period that it's just it's so bad, and not to scare anybody that's pregnant and has not given birth, but don't do it. No, just kidding. It felt really good that I did it, and there is a certain like feeling like you release a lot of oxytocin and stuff, and that's why I wanted an unmedicated birth, because it's like your body kind of has a different natural reaction. But yeah, there was a little bit that I was like, I can't do this. Like, I just cannot. But I did it. I think I was in labor altogether for about 12 hours from 12, well,
That's a lot.
like from when my contractions actually started. So my water had broken around 10 o'clock. My contractions, like actual contractions, didn't start until like 3-4 in the morning, which is one reason why I was like probably peed my pants. But your contractions don't always come right with when your water broke. So yeah, so yeah, I'd say the actual labor was about 12 hours. He was born around 3:30 in the afternoon. I think I pushed for like 22 minutes. It wasn't really too bad. I did poop on the table. So you're talking about trauma. This is trauma dumping. That was a very traumatic experience for me, and it was awful. So I will never forget that. So so I did do Lamaze. We did Lamaze mostly just for funsies. And she said in Lamaze, she said, you won't even know. Like, if you poop, no, everybody poops, and they don't even know it's happening. And so I was like thinking, okay, at least I won't know. No, I knew. Like, I was aware. I'm like, she lied to me. I wish I didn't know. And I was like, I remember just like saying to the nurses, like, I'm pooping, clean it up. I'm pooping. Like, like I was just horrified. They're like, it's okay, honey, it's okay. Like, no, I'm not okay. Like, and I was just like so badly wishing I didn't know it was happening. And like my husband was right there, and like he was my boyfriend at the time. And like, granted, like we'd been together for a while, we had a baby together. I still was like, look away.
Yeah.
Leave.
When my sister gave birth in 2014, I was 18 or 19. And when she was talking to me about it, because I was in the room when she was giving birth to my my niece, she was talking about it, and I'm like, wait, you could poop? Because, like, I was uneducated. And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, but, like, why?
There's a lot of pressure going on.
Yeah. And then, yeah. I just didn't know that could happen.
Unfortunately, yes, it can, and it did happen to me. No, really though, the nursing staff was phenomenal, and they were very like nobody else probably would have known if I wasn't like screaming about it. Like I was being ridiculous. Like I'm pooping. Like just like I had to make sure everybody in that room and probably the rooms around me knew about it. Like
They needed
otherwise.
to know.
They would have just like very, they were very discreet. They just, took care of it, whatever. Like, but yeah, I let everyone know. That was my fault. That was on me. I do like to tell my son though sometimes that I pooped. I pooped a baby. Like he's my poop or something. I don't know.
So how old is he now?
He will be 9 in a couple months.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I know. Yeah, it's been a little minute. Yeah, it's wild.
Wait, was he born in 2014?
Oh yeah, he was born in 2014. Yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah, and my daughter was too. They were both born in 2014 because my kids are 9 months and 22 days apart. And
was it?
Yeah, and they were born in the same hospital room, not at all like intentionally. Like they just wheeled me into the hospital room that her birth mom had given birth in, and I was like, "What? No way!" Like, so yeah, that was really awesome. Like, actually, I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Was it a struggle dealing with two like newborn or like? What am I trying to say?
Not
like newish, but like
and infants. A 9-month-old, like infant.
Yeah. Yes, it was a very big struggle. I would say though that my biggest struggles came a little bit further down the road, like when postpartum depression hit, and that would have been probably when he was like a few months old, and then like when she started moving more, like when she started walking, that was really difficult because I was nursing Ray, and I'll explain a little bit more about breastfeeding as well because that was a big part of our lives. But yeah, when she became more mobile, and then when he became mobile, that really was when it was on, and it really was hard. Like and I remember just like sitting and nursing him when he was still really little, and she was crawling. I mean, I guess she was crawling already because she was almost 10 months old. And so just being like nursing the baby, and like the other baby is like halfway across the house. I'm like, stop, wait. Like, and that was rough. And I was 22 years old when Ray was born. I was 21 when Ivy was born. So I was really young, and I didn't realize how young I was. Like, you don't realize how young you are when you're in your early 20s. And so it was a lot for a person that didn't have a lot of life experience, I guess. I mean, I did, but not as much as I thought I did. If that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because like right now, I have a brother that's 21 years old, and like to imagine him like having a child now and then another one 10 months later, I'm like, yeah, no, like not that I don't think he could. He'd be a great dad, like he really would, but I don't want that for him, Like I'm like, no, you go live it up, It worked out though. Like I love my kids so much, and it was rough for a little minute though. It was a little rough. But yeah, I guess I can go back and revisit like I feel like I kind of just like sped through a lot of my pregnancy though. I feel like we like went through like first trimester, feeling him move, birth.
With your birth, didn't you have a birth photographer too?
I did. Yeah, look at you, Alex. Look at you. You remember my life better than I do.
I do.
It's because I had 2 babies at one time. My brain never recovered.
I just remember you have this amazing photo. It's literally one of my favorites where like you and Shaggy are like dancing in the bathroom while you're going through your contractions.
Talk about the bathroom. I didn't talk about the bathroom or the birth photographer. Look at this. You are saving the day. So yeah, I hired a birth photographer. She was awesome. I love her so much. I'm so happy I did that. I love to look back. I still like, just like every month or so, we'll go through and look at all of those pictures, and they make me cry because they're beautiful. I did do a lot. For some reason, I did most, like the majority of my labor at the hospital was in the bathroom. That wasn't the plan. So it started like that I wanted a bath. And so they were filling the tub, and it felt like it took like 80 years for the tub to fill. I'm sure it really wasn't very long, but I'm just like, when is it going to be full? And so I was just laboring in there. But then it was full, the 15 hours, that was probably 20 minutes later. And I got in the water, and it was awful. I was like, nope, we're not doing this. And so then I just like was on the floor. I like straddled the toilet for a while. But I think also it was just dark in there, and it was like cool. Like, okay, so not at all the same thing, but if you've ever been like drunk and touched the floor, and it's cool, like it feels like cool, that's kind of the same concept. Like it was like a soothing feeling. I think that's why I ended up being in there. But no, back to the birth photographer. So she took some really beautiful photos. And yes, my husband and I we danced right out. So we did a lot of, and he was really good. And this was to our doula's credit, because she helped us to figure this out, for him to find my rhythm. So for us to work together, and then he moved his body along with mine, and we found a rhythm that helped with the contractions. And so it was just kind of like moving hips, and so we got some really, really sweet pictures in the bathroom. And there's also a few others that I really like there's some where I really like this one. You can see my hand and my doula's hand and my husband's hand all on the ground, because they're down on the ground with me. And it's just all the photos are in black and white, which of course just makes them more striking. And I've always loved that picture too, because it just showed my support team right there with me, on the ground of the bathroom.
We're there with you.
Who doesn't birth in the bathroom? I'm not birth, but labor in the bathroom. I did give birth, on the bed. But and actually, another thing though that I for some reason didn't think about is that my husband actually delivered my son. So we had talked about that with the doctor beforehand, that maybe we could do that. And I think that one of his friends had done it or something, or maybe they talked about it. I don't know where the idea came from, but he was all on board for it. And so, yeah, he caught him, and we also have some really good pictures of that. So one of my favorite photos is him passing him over to me. So you just see his hands, and Ray is in his hands, and then my hands receiving him. And it's a really, really awesome picture. It is.
That was one thing I was so jealous of. I was like, oh, that just sounds so cool. Why do I got to be so poor and I can't afford to get pictures taken at mine?
It is
It's it's so cool. But it works really beautiful for you guys though, because you guys had the struggle of getting pregnant, and then Ray was your only pregnancy, full pregnancy.
And we're done. I'm not, I'm done because, I'm done. But also I don't want to risk having another pregnancy loss. I can't put my family through that, and I can't put me through that. So it's just better not to. And we're content. We're happy. I'm happy with my kids. Good. We're good. They're 8 and 9 now. If we started again right now, man, that'd be a lot. I'm good. They can pour their own juice.
So do you feel like you have a set of twins because they were born so close, kind of close?
So they are so different that I'd say no. And since they were in different developmental stages, no. Okay. But I mean, in some ways, I think that it might have been harder than twins, but I'm sure that twins are harder in other ways too. So I don't want to say that and then have twin moms come for me and be like, you have no idea. No, I don't have any idea. But it is hard, I will say, having two babies, but two babies that need different things. So okay. My kids still needed full support because they were still both infants, but they needed completely different things because they're in different developmental stages. And then now, like, their personalities cannot be any more different, and they always have been, like, from birth. It's so funny how, like, babies have personalities, because they do. Like, even newborns have personalities, and my kids have always been so different from each other. Like, Ivy would, like, cry until I set her down. Like, she liked her bouncy chair. And then Ray was just, like, stuck to me, and still is. He never let go.
He's your Velcro kid.
He is. Well, and that's where, like, okay, so I was going to talk about breastfeeding, and that kind of brings me into breastfeeding. So I nursed him for a little over 2 years. And so it was really rough in the beginning. So I brought, okay, so the Velcro child, that's where it comes in, because that's why I ended up stopping breastfeeding. We'll get there. So I'll start here and we'll get to the Velcro child. But so yeah, I nursed him in the beginning. It was really awful. It's funny because, like, our breastfeeding journey was, like, awful, pretty good, awful. Like, so it was like 8 weeks of, like, torture at the beginning when I was nursing him. And then, so it's like, we just couldn't get he couldn't get a good, latch, because, like, what's the word, latch? Oh my gosh. He couldn't get a good latch, and, like, I didn't even want to do it anymore, but I did. And then it was great. Like, it really was great. And then when he hit about a year and a half, I was over it. Well, you know, I had 2 babies, and I was tired of being touched, and Ray just wanted to nurse all day long, all night long, and he would, like, try to pull my shirt down in public to, like, nurse in the middle of public, and he'd be like, boom, boom, that's what he said, boom, boom. And so when he turned about 18 months old, I decided I was going to wean, and I started, and then I got a lot of guilt because I was in a lot of, like, mom groups and stuff, and it was awful. Like, I had really awful people in my ear, and so I kind of had put it off because I felt like I was, like, being a bad mom, because that's kind of what they were saying, because mom groups can be awful. And so then I stuck it out for, like, another too long. It was quite a while, and then finally I couldn't do it anymore. Like, my mental health was poor, and breastfeeding was a big part of it. And that's the thing, is that, like, breastfeeding is great as long as it's mutually beneficial. If it is impacting you to a point where it's, like, impacting your mental health, it's not beneficial anymore. Like, it's not good for you or your baby, because you're not doing well. Like,
Right.
And so I ended up weaning him cold turkey, which was one of the worst things I've ever had to do. So, like, I slept in a different room than him. He slept with my husband, and I slept in another room, and I could hear him screaming, like, at night, and I felt awful. Like, I felt awful the whole time, but I, like, was to the point where I wasn't sleeping anymore. I was crying, like, because he wanted to nurse all night long. Like, he would crawl into my shirt, like, in the middle of the night, and I wasn't really producing a lot of milk anymore, so it was, like, physically painful and emotionally painful, and I just couldn't do it. And I'd wake up in the morning and just, like, so I weaned him cold turkey, and it took probably about a week, maybe 2 weeks, and it was awful, and he cried every night. And then we moved on. We were able to move on at that point, and he came back to sleeping in my bed until still now, pretty much. And and he's still my Velcro boy. So we didn't do, like, any permanent damage by weaning him, like all of the women of Facebook told me. like, he'll hate you, he'll have trust issues for the rest of his life. Like, oh my gosh, people are awful.
Mom groups are terrible.
Oh my
I'm still in mom groups, but, like, I don't really, I post in it very, very little, and I only go into them, like, if people I know post into them.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I don't get any notifications, because
No,
they are toxic.
I can't be in them anymore. And I joined one. So I joined this, like, neurodivergent mom group, like, it was like a month ago, and I thought, well, this is going to be different.
No,
it wasn't different. Mom groups are mom groups.
Do a lot of people mom shame in them?
Yes.
It's weird because I think what I've figured out is that these people are very insecure themselves, and so like they put people down because it makes them feel better. I think that's really like what it is. Um, so yeah, a lot of mom shaming, just anything you can think of. I mean, screen time and yeah, breastfeeding of course. Formula feeding versus breastfeeding is a huge one.
Yeah.
And
And
yeah,
it does put a lot of pressures on people too, because I'll talk into my experience too. And then about it. But I struggled with breastfeeding myself, and I had a lot of mom guilt on that because I was like, I know breast is best, but at the same time, I was like, it's killing me. And I remember people like, Alex, you can feed your baby formula. And I was like, no, I can't. All these moms say I need to feed with breasts, like, I need to breastfeed. And I know it was really hard to balance out because, like you said, there are a lot of like insecure moms in these groups, and they want everyone to think the same way and not
yep.
know that every parenting style is different. No one is going to do it right every time. And I think that's a part of like raising children is you find your own groove and you do what works best for you.
Yep, that's one thing that I've had to learn a lot is that not to listen to those voices because yeah, you do find your own groove. You do, and you just have to trust yourself.
Yes.
Like, and that's a hard thing to do when everybody in the world has an opinion. And that was one of the hardest things of when I was a new mom, and not just with breastfeeding or like everything, because there's an opinion on everything. And yeah, just trusting yourself. That's a huge thing, is having trust in yourself. But yeah, as far as breastfeeding goes, I definitely have changed. Well, you know, Alex, my mom is a huge breastfeeding advocate. She's come a long way herself as well. She used to be a big breast is best person. I don't know. But she's come a long way because I've talked to her about like my own feelings and what my friends have been through and how like problematic that is, and how impactful it's been on so many women's mental health. Like it's harmful. And
because I even remember after I had Bella, she was like, and I told her, I was like, I just don't know if I could do it. And I remember your mom like, I can get a breast pump for you right now. You say the word and I will go do it. And I was like, I don't think I can do it.
No,
And at that
you were
time,
a 17-year-old girl that just had a C-section. I mean,
I was not I was not able to breastfeed even if I wanted to. There was no way I could have made that work. So yeah, but I remember like your mom being a huge advocate. And like I guess the plus side for you too with breastfeeding, your mom had breastfed all of her children.
Yep.
So I mean, you had that person in house that could be like, "Here, let's do this hold," or like if you were struggling, that was able to help you because she literally you guys lived in the same
I
house.
have like an in-house lactation consultant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but still though, if I ever did, and I'd already decided this, but again, I'm not having any more kids. I don't think that I would nurse if I had any more kids just because of like, first of all, I take medication and I cannot not take medication. And also the weaning process in itself was so traumatic on me that I could never, like, if it was the same way that I couldn't, like, that I was feeling the way that I did at the end, because it was awful. And then I had to wean, and then I had that guilt on top of it. I'm like, I can't put myself through that again. It was awful. This kid never wanted to get off my boob. Like, and that sounds silly, like, but like, it really was hurtful to my mental health.
Yes, I agree. I was there.
You were there.
I agree.
You witnessed it, and I'm just like, no, not again. No, I'm not ready. Boom.
Give me like 10 more minutes. I just don't need anyone touching me. Yes, I
Yeah,
fully remember
touched
that.
out is real. Oh my gosh. Well, now you got like, I know what that's called. It's overstimulation. I didn't have that word in my vocabulary at the time. I was overstimulated every second of my life. Then put a kid on your boob and another one that's like crawling up you or like across the room and you're like running like because she's about to like jump off of something. Like it just all, it all just feeds into each other.
Yes. Yeah, that was a very hectic couple years of your life. And I feel like even then, just balancing out, I think you guys have a really good groove now, but that's always been something of like getting your groove figured out.
That took a while. It did, and we still lose it sometimes, like we do. Right? We're kind of we've been through a lot in the last couple weeks, as you know, and so we're kind of off our groove right now. But we're getting back into it. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. We still get derailed, but for the most part, we've got it figured out.
Right.
As much as anybody does.
Did you have any more questions or anything like that for her, Erica? Anything that you can think of?
No, I'm questioned out.
Is there anything you wanted to add at all, Brooke? Or
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna probably later think about like, oh, this relevant thing happened and I didn't mention it, and then it'll haunt me and I will dream about it. But as of right now, no, I think I'm good.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Brooke. We really appreciate you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where can people find you? What?
Yeah. So I have look.
If you want to be found.
Yeah, if you want to be found.
I'm trying. So I have my Bookstagram. So the only thing I really have live right now is my Bookstagram. I am working on a blog right now. So I had one that I was fairly active on for a little bit that I'm not using, and actually got shut down because I didn't verify my email because, you know, I'm awesome. So I am working on getting something established right now that hopefully I will have soon. So stay tuned on that. Yeah, I guess my Bookstagram, and that's, I should have written it down because now I don't remember what it is. It's like Brooke's Bookstagram. I'm pretty sure is what it is. Alex, what's my Bookstagram?
I don't know. You can send it to me and then I can put it in the description box below.
There we go. I have my Bookstagram. I am a book nerd, and I like to just like talk about my random book reading. So this is kind of a fun little platform. That's just a for me thing. That's just a good time.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. All right.
Thank you again so much, Brooke. We truly appreciate having you on. Mm-hmm. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks to talk about your adoption journey.
Yeah, that will be fun.
All righty. Bye-bye, Brooke.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty.
I didn't realize. Oh, are we?
No, you were still recording. That's fine.
I didn't realize you were going to say bye to her like that.
Oh, I don't know. It's okay. It's still a work in progress.
Yeah. She's still there though, right?
No, she's gone.
Oh, she like biffed? Okay.
She's out. She's like, I said my piece. I'm out.
Okay.
So I think we're gonna split this into 2 episodes because since Brooke's story was so unique and so lengthy, we're gonna split this one up. So that'll be part 1, and we're actually gonna like end this one, and we'll do part 2 with my birth story because I have 2 pregnancies that I've been through, and it just shows like a different way of birth and all that jazz.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
That was a very interesting story.
Yeah, it was. It's really great to have other people's perspective. And I'm so happy that with this series, we're having guests.
I know.
It's so exciting just to have other people on and not just like our stories all the time.
Yeah.
It would also be great if we would get some more emails. Wink, wink.
Hey, you guys. You have trauma. We have ears. Let's. We have a platform, so let's talk here.
Let's work together.
Yeah. Only if you want to share your trauma. Only if you want to.
Right. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up this one.
Yeah. You know where to find us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok.
What is that accent?
Fuck Twitter. I don't know. Is it even an accent? I don't know. It's my country twang.
And as always, you can send us an email too at sorryfortraumadumpingpodcast@gmail.com. It's really long, but you won't forget it.
Next week we will be discussing myself being child free along with a guest. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned till next week.
Yeah, I'm excited. I know since we just got done listening to like Brooke's birth story and stuff like that, I'm so looking forward to hearing like your guys' opinions on like, why you don't want children and like your lifestyles and like all of that stuff. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I'm excited to share because I mean I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So finally, I have an episode I have a lot to say. Because normally I'm like, I forgot. But
Alrighty.
anyways.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, girl.
Bye.
Bye.